home. We mix it all together, and what have we got? In my opinion, the best debate show in town. Monday to Friday, 6 till 7 on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hello, it's 11 o'clock, which means it's time for tomorrow's newspapers tonight. Join us over the next hour to find out what my panel made of the King's speech, who Diane Abbott isn't impressed by, and we get a new interpretation of the Bible for Christmas. I'm Cressida Wetton, and tonight's comedians are Paul Cox and Lewis Schaefer. This is Headliners. But before tomorrow's news, let's go to tonight's headlines with Tatiana Sanchez.
Good evening. The top stories from the GB newsroom this Christmas Day. His Majesty the King has delivered his Christmas message, emphasising the importance of community, compassion and service amid a turbulent year for both he and the Princess of Wales, who had their own health battles. In a break from tradition, King Charles delivered this year's Christmas speech from the Fitzrovia Chapel, a former hospital in central London. It's the first time in over a decade it hasn't been recorded at a royal residence, with the King choosing to praise the community response to the anger and lawlessness of this summer's riots in towns and cities around the UK, and also to the selfless doctors and nurses who provided strength, care and comfort to both him and the Princess of Wales during their cancer treatments.
From a personal point of view, I offer special heartfelt thanks to the selfless doctors and nurses who this year have supported me and other members of my family through the uncertainties and anxieties of illness, and have helped provide the strength, care and comfort we have needed. I am deeply grateful too to all those who have offered us their own kind words of sympathy and encouragement.
This morning, the King attended the royal family's traditional Christmas Day church service. The King and Queen Camilla walked the short distance from Sandringham House to St Mary Magdalene Church past a crowd of well-wishers. They were joined by the Prince and Princess of Wales and their children. The Princess Royal and the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh also part of that walking party. Absent, though, was the Duke of York, who's been accused of having links to an alleged Chinese spy. The Archbishop of York emerged smiling from his Christmas Day service in the North Yorkshire city to greet well-wishers and tourists outside the Minster. The Archbishop of York, who will effectively take over as leader of the Church of England next month, has called for change in his Christmas sermon. Stephen Cotterill delivered his remarks as the Church faces criticism over failures in its handling of various abuse scandals. Archbishop of Canterbury Justin Welby resigned last month after he was criticised for not doing enough to stop a prolific abuser. Earlier this week, Mr Cotterill acknowledged that things could have been handled differently after revelations that a priest at the centre of a sexual abuse case was twice reappointed under him while he was serving as Bishop of Chelmsford. GB News can confirm that at least 350 migrants have crossed the English Channel in small boats so far this Christmas Day. Several boats were seen making the dangerous journey from France this morning, with more expected to follow over the course of today. Those who arrived in Dover following early hours crossings broke a period of more than a week when no small boats had been spotted. And this comes after GB News exclusively revealed yesterday that thousands of migrants were massing along the northern coast of France, preparing to cross to the UK over the Christmas period. Swimmers across the nation have braved the chilly waters as they celebrated Christmas Day with a festive plunge. Many of those swimmers turned out in support of various charity causes, with others simply enjoying a festive tradition. Sea surface temperatures across the country were between 8 and 11 degrees Celsius, according to the Met Office. But plucky bathers, including many dressed as Father Christmas, snowmen and elves, woke up extra early to take the plunge in Bournemouth, if you're watching these pictures on television. The enduring Peter Pan Cup was also strongly attended in London's Hyde Park, with swimmers taking part in the world's oldest annual swimming event. And those are the latest GB News headlines for now. I'm Tatiana Sanchez. More from me in an hour.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Hello and welcome to Headliners. Merry Christmas, everybody. Isn't it merry? How are you doing?
Very merry.
Paul and Lewis, how are you?
I'm good.
It's good. We're going to catch up with your happiness. You've been happy all day, and we're going to...
I've been here all day, Lewis. Excellent. Before we start the show, let's have a quick look at tomorrow's front pages. The Daily Express leads with "Stop relying on sales to beat the budget blues." The Times has action plan as private schools face bankruptcy. The Independent, Putin's inhumane blitz leaves Ukraine in the cold. And the Daily Mirror has "With love and hugs." Finally, the iPaper has Labour facing growing threat as voters shift to reform UK. And it's not finally, there's another one. Finally, the Daily Mail. Moving on, we're moving on. OK, let's have... Shall we have a detailed look?
At the Daily Mail. Let's go to the Daily Mail.
Let's have a look at the Daily Mail.
Yeah, why not the Daily Mail? Merry
idea.
Christmas to everybody out there. Charles, my heartfelt gratitude to selfless doctors and nurses. In a deeply personal message, the King pays tribute to staff who supported him and his family. I mean, I'm hoping he also did that at the time and didn't just wait till Christmas because, you know, they've been working on him all year. I'm sure he did. I watched the speech today. Did either of you watch the speech?
No, and triple no.
Yes, I did watch this.
Yeah, I did watch it. I mean,
I work on a news channel.
Yeah, well, exactly. I did watch it, and it was tamer than I was led to believe in the press earlier in the week. So I did Headliners on Monday. I have no idea what day of the week it is now, but I know it's not Monday. And it seemed like they were sort of gearing us up for this kind of, the King is going to say that the whole country came together after Southport. And those of us that are on Headliners on Monday definitely questioned that. But it was a kind of pretty mild speech. It was done in a chapel, actually, in the Fitzroy Chapel in central London, which I think Diana, the People's Princess, the People's Gammon, the People's Princess, opened sometime in the 80s.
If only she'd lived, Paul. You could have.
If only she lived. Hopefully I won't die. I think I will. I think I will at some point. But it's Christmas. Let's not think about that. One thing I did notice is how the King, and I'm a big fan of the monarchy, he's kind of grown the side out of his hair, so you can't see his ears anymore. And I admire this. I admire the illusion of this.
Why, you've got lovely ears.
No, our King, has got bigger ears, and he's...
So how do you admire that?
Well,
that he wants to hide
in the
his
same
own
way I
ears?
wear a baggier top to hide some of the jelly. You know, I can see what he's doing with the ears.
It's funny you mentioned the ears, because he did say listening a lot, didn't he? He said listening.
Well, he can listen very well.
Well, he talked about it a lot. He talked about it so much, I thought even Lewis might think about listening.
Do you know what? I don't want... Yeah, I can listen. I can listen to someone who's saying something. I don't want to talk about the King. This is not my country. I wasn't born here. I'm not English. I'm sorry. My kids are English. I want what's best for them. But we have... You know what it is? This station likes the royal family. But the truth is that this King does not care about this country. I'm sorry. He cares about the global world. He's like into the Commonwealth. He's completely... He's in the World Economic Forum's pocket. He's in Davos right now. And number two, if you've got cancer and you want to have chemotherapy, you want to have radiology, whatever it is, radio...
Received
Radio Gaga.
Is that you go ahead. I'm not going there at all. Or surgery. I'm not going there.
I hope you never have to, mate.
No, don't tell me I have to. I'm
No,
such a...
I'm not.
You
I'm saying I hope you never have to.
What does that mean? Because some doctor says you need
I mean, I hope... Lewis, listen. That's it.
Listen.
I hope you never get unwell and have to make the choice. That's what I'm saying.
I've made the choice beforehand. Is it no radiology
OK,
for
so
Lewis
that's
Schaefer?
the King's speech nicely covered. Let's have a look at the Express, please, Lewis.
That was too much. That was too much. Shops relying on sales to beat budget blues. This is in the Daily Express. Well, I mean, it's a question. It doesn't say that the results are in, that people are spending way more money out there. And my personal feeling is I don't think people are spending money out there. Do you think they're...
No, I think the problem is they know, the Daily Express know, and the wider public know that this budget spoke Britain down economically, and we still have many businesses out there that need us to talk Britain up, particularly economically, and they're hoping for a bonanza or a Boxing Day to give us a bit of a spike in retail. But I really, sadly, don't think it matters how big tomorrow is, Boxing Day is. I think we're in for a bumpy ride in 2025 because this budget is anti-growth. Yeah. There's no two ways about it. And if you have an anti-growth budget that puts up borrowing and tax the living daylights out of the working people, you are going to end up with problems on the high street.
Excellent point.
And it's a dying high street anyway. And I just think that Labour are in for a really cold shower in 2025.
They're right now. They're getting.
Well, I mean,
it's wet,
yeah, but they're in this
them.
kind of hue at the moment where they believe that we're just putting things in place, and at some point it'll all come good. Yeah. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
Is that what you believe?
It's what I believe right now.
Because I agree with that. I think there's going to be civil war within the next 2 years.
2 weeks.
Wow, that's escalated.
Yeah, I would say within. I think people are going to be.
Boxing Day set.
Yeah. But not on Boxing Day. Boxing Day should be fine. I hope. But
have you just said it because we're just trying to up the ante? Everything I say, you're like, no, I think there'll be a riot tomorrow, Lewis.
Yeah, no, because you're usually optimistic, but I'm not. Are you optimistic?
I don't know.
Is Cressida, are you optimistic?
I'm optimistic that Paul is going to cover the I paper next.
I am. Labour facing growing threat as voters shift to reform. So British politics enters 2025 in a three-way tie with Nigel Farage's Reform UK, almost even with Labour and the Conservatives. And it's fantastic, I think. I think it's fantastic to see this. If you imagine, metaphorically, Labour as a scrotum, which I am now, and I'm hoping you are too.
Where's this going?
Nigel Farage is the genital wart upon them at the moment. He really is growing voraciously. And I don't know what I'm doing here.
That's technically Ofcom compliant, isn't it? It just doesn't seem appropriate for breakfast.
But what I'm saying is he's a real thorn or genital wart in Labour and Conservative side of their scrotum.
He's not a thorn. He's a thorn because you could pull out a thorn and you don't have the thorn as a problem. Nigel Farage is what should be the proper face of what's happening in the future. Is that Labour or the Tories, they don't have the answer to the question: who's fighting for Britain? Who's fighting for the Angles, the Saxons, the Picts, the Celts, the Welsh?
If they had any sense, wouldn't they welcome Nigel in? Because he's offering to help with the relationship with Donald and to sort out the tariff situation.
No. Can I answer that?
Yes.
The answer is no. The answer is no. Of course, they're not going to welcome him in because he's a mirror in their face which says that you, Keir Starmer, and the Labour Party are no good. You don't stand for Britain. You don't stand for the Angles, the Saxons, the Jutes, the Picts, the Scots.
Oh, they're not doing very well, are they? Every week we hear that more people are going to reform, and surely it might do them some good to just let him have. I think they should bring him in. It
would be like, say, a guy in Germany saying, "We love Jews," back in the 1930s. It's a bit too little, too late.
All right, Lewis.
Let Paul speak.
We know that they believe that reform and Farage is a problem because they repeatedly tell us that he's not.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how we know that they know that particularly things like the red wall that sometimes goes blue. And this shade of blue, actually, upon the rashers.
Tell people that's bacon.
It is bacon. Bacon as you are, the rashers. I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't even had a drink for months.
Yeah.
OK, let's have a look at The Guardian, please, Lewis.
Well, which story is the most unimportant in this thing? It says dozens killed as plane crashes in Kazakhstan. And it's a plane that crashed from Kazakhstan that was going to, I think it was going from the city, from someplace in Azerbaijan that was going up to some other place. And they're blaming the Russians, which is, of course, what they want to do. They want to blame the Russians for everything because they're gung-ho NATO, they're gung-ho Team World, they're gung-ho Europe. And why would the Russians have blown up the plane?
Anything on this, Paul?
It's really difficult. Both Ukraine and Russia are at war, so there's going to be loads of shenanigans going on. Something like this is startling, particularly to us, looking at it from the West, thinking, what are they doing? Would they bring down the planes of a supporting country? Would they go as far to blow innocent people out the sky? We already know the Russians would do that. I don't know what this means. It feels to me they know that Trump's on his way, and both Ukraine and Russia are almost trying to accelerate this war before they're told they have to stop mucking about.
Right.
And it could just be a Brazilian plane, a Brazilian-built plane that crashes in a country called Kazakhstan that you don't think of maybe having the best, air flight.
Amazing.
business.
OK, let's have a quick look at the Times, please, Paul.
Action plan as private schools face bankruptcy. Now, of course, one of the big stories in January is going to be that VAT will be applied to private schools across the UK. This is going to adversely impact a lot of aspirational working and middle-class people in the UK. Some of the schools will take the fees on the chin and absorb to some degree. A lot of the fees will be passed on to those working people, and it's going to push a lot of children out of the private sector into the already struggling public sector schools,
where they don't have to pay any more money. So it's basically a drain on the money that's already in the system, OK? So it's a loss-loss.
Yeah, I think
individuals it's a loss-loss.
It feels like just another attack on the middle classes.
a lot of people...
Anybody, everybody.
Yeah, a lot of people particularly working people, have never sent their children. I never went to a private school, public school as we call it in the UK. However, this doesn't just affect people that are well off. There's also performance-type schools. Some friends of mine, their son is a very talented ballet dancer. He is going to a school in Birmingham alongside his normal education because he's this big talent, and they could never afford to send him there. And if these fees go up, there is a chance that he will lose his space. And this will happen to many aspirational families across the UK.
Yeah. Dreadful. OK, that's the front pages expertly dealt with. Coming up, who else isn't happy with Keir Starmer? And what wise words does the Pope have for us at Christmas? This is Headliners, only on GB News.
I'm in a bit.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
1 in 20 people are diagnosed with seasonal affective disorder across the UK.
Yes, Healthwatch has revealed that men are more likely to suffer from this than women. Did you know?
Triggers apparently include a decrease in daylight hours, which is certainly happening around about now. If you're leaving the office, it's dark. When you come home, it's dark, as well as the falling temperatures.
Yes, and both of those things happen a lot, don't they, here in Britain? So how can we combat the symptoms of seasonal affective disorder? Well, to discuss this, we're joined now by Dr. Andreas Fonseca, the founder and director of Thrive Mental Wellbeing. Really good to see you this morning, Doctor. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Now, there'll be lots of people watching and listening this morning and saying, what a load of rubbish. It's always been cold in this country. It's always been dark. What is seasonal affective disorder? Is it really a thing?
Well, it is a thing, and it's been known for quite some time. This is not new, really. It is a form of depression. That's what it is. And it's got specific characteristics that kind of differentiate it from other forms of depression. So the reason probably we're talking more about it is because it's basically people are more aware of it and they're recognizing it more. So before you used to be sort of just saying this person's got depression, now you have some specific things to look at that can differentiate it from other kinds of depression, which is quite useful because it's got some specific forms of treatment. So the things that are different about seasonal affective disorder are that for the diagnosis you need 2 years in which you only have episodes during either the late autumn or early winter. So that's when they start, and they fade away by late spring, summer. Early summer. So that's how it works. You cannot have any episodes at any other time. So it has to be seasonal, specifically seasonal.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news,
Will, please bring us up to date.
or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons,
Very, very curious.
we bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, for a frank and honest discussion with those in power that cuts through the spin and gets to the heart of the issues shaping our nation.
You haven't confirmed that you want to stand as leader, but you haven't ruled it out either.
This report basically says that he's not fit to stand trial. Is he indecisive? Incompetent?
I deliver the dose of reality Westminster needs. That's the Camilla Tominey Show at 9:30 every Sunday on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
They think, oh, she's so...
Welcome back to Headliners. In this section, we're going to start with a bit of festive fun. I asked some viewers on Twitter today if they had any pets that were as badly behaved as Lewis. And very kindly, you have sent some pets in. So our first pet comes from Hugh Jarrett, and this is Chester. Chester likes to go to sleep in the sink, even though he's got 4 separate beds of his own around the house.
Oh, they never do sleep where you tell them, cats, ever.
No,
and probably Lewis as well, I imagine.
No, Lewis has been found sleeping in some really interesting places.
Is that badly bad?
No, I think that's quite well behaved. The challenge was, could we find a pet that was worse behaved than Lewis? Yeah. So far, the answer is no.
No, it's a beautiful cat.
So we've got another cat now. This cat is called Sneezy Joe, little Sneezy Joe, and apparently Sneezy Joe can tie a tie better than Lewis.
That's not true.
Is Sneezy Joe on someone's lap?
Yeah.
Right, OK.
Wait. What's sticking out of his pants down?
Ooh, by the way, that is a cat, isn't it? He isn't sent in a picture of Sneezy Joe in inverted commas, and Joe is sneezing all over Christmas.
That's definitely a cat, and I think he's got a Burberry tie on.
Lovely, that'll say
which may or may not have come from a charity shop for £1. I don't know.
How is that badly behaved, Chris?
Well, it's not. I think the answer is...
I think people are going to have a hard time. They realise I'm very well behaved.
Well, have a look at this third one. This is a pair of lovely dogs going to see Father Christmas. How lovely is that? They look very well behaved. That's not a naughty pet at all.
No, not at all. They're lovely, and I love dogs, not as much as cats.
Those dogs aren't nibbling on his Sneezy Joe, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, keep it clean. This is family-friendly Christmas entertainment. We've got one more, and this one is quite like Lewis. This pet is called Sweep, and this is Sweep smuggling a sausage under his Christmas jumper at Nuremberg Christmas Market, which does strike me as something Lewis
I'm not allowed
would
to
do.
say anything at this point.
You're not.
Sweep smuggling a sausage? What am I supposed to...
Are you sure that that's a sausage? I think that's what Paul is asking.
It's another Sleepy Joe, I think.
I think it's a victory for Lewis Schaefer. If it's a victory...
You would call anything a victory for Lewis Schaefer.
Because it doesn't strike me as that bad, and Crescent has been on my case all
That's
day.
not true, viewers.
She has been.
It's not true.
That would only be possible if you'd been here all day. Let's have a look at The Independent now. And Diane Abbott doesn't think the Arctic tundra that we call our dear leader is good at empathy, Lewis.
Yes, this is fantastic news. I don't know why. But Starmer, which is Keir Starmer, who's the leader of the Labour Party, doesn't have a feel for politics, quote-unquote, or the Labour Party. This is from Diane Abbott, who, in theory, should know what... But she does know, because she's been elected up in Islington, and she's basically having a dig at Keir Starmer because she's been kicked out of the party with her boyfriend, Jeremy Corbyn, right?
I think they split up in about 1986.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
not
it was for a
currently.
while. I don't mean now they're going out.
Yeah, somebody that she's allied to.
I like her a lot because she had a very important vote on Brexit. Do you remember that? And she didn't turn up. And I thought to myself, that's the kind of thing that would happen to the Lewis Schaefer family. Either me or maybe my mother would do that. I don't feel like it, and you get old feeling depressed or sick or something. But she's bad-mouthing Keir Starmer because Keir Starmer didn't want her in the party. And the fact is that that's the best thing about the Labour Party. If the Labour Party is going to be like the Labour Party, they need to have people like...
But she is correct, isn't she? I mean, we don't think of him as empathetic, do we? He's not known for that. He's known for taking heating money off old people.
He doesn't really have an identity. He doesn't have any empathy. He is someone who loves the rules, and he's like an actor in his own life. He just reads other people's words out. I mean, he flip-flops from one policy. He was like Enoch Powell the other day when he was talking about about immigration. Then he'll swing completely the other way and he'll be taking the knee for something ridiculous. And Diane Abbott has become this kind of thing that we can all get behind in the last couple of months.
Very strange, isn't it, to find yourself agreeing with Diane Abbott twice in 1 month?
But Keir Starmer Starmer, you have to remember, who voted for him? His own party voted for him, or at least the MPs there voted for him. Who does he represent? He represents Team World over there in Davos. This country is divided between people who support the evilness of the Germans, the French, and Davos people, and yes, why?
This table's divided. Telegraph next, and perhaps there are still a few Labour voters who do manual labour more often than kimchi, Paul.
Well, yes. Red Wall MPs tell Starmer to get tough on immigration, or we will lose our seats to reform. So this is around 35 MPs, and they've formed a pressure group, which I think they've called the Wet Flannels, and they've done this because they know that they sit in constituencies where their constituents will be very unhappy with the immigrant crisis. There's a high percentage probability that they are likely to have voted Brexit. They probably voted for the Tories in 2019. They swung back to Labour for change in 2024, and what they've learned is that there is no difference and therefore no change between the Tories and Labour. And I know people think that we're the sort of propaganda arm of reform, particularly the detesters of GB News. We're not, OK? There are a lot of supporters of reform here. But we're genuinely, no one tells us what to say here, but it's very, very easy, because Reform are the only party that are talking any sense on immigration. And they're the only ones that have got a history of talking complete sense on immigration.
Wait, the way you... Sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
The way Paul says it is like there's sense and there's not sense. It was like during the Trump Kamala Harris, thing. Like people are actually voting for Kamala Harris, or they're actually voting for Trump. No, they're voting for the big issues of the day, which is immigration is, on one hand, is like we're against immigration. Why are we against immigration? Because we support the Angles, the Saxons, the Jutes, the Picts, the Celts. We support the Nigerians living in this country.
They're talking here about looking at other issues, including access to GPs, antisocial behaviour, the cost of living crisis. You could argue, some people would argue, that those topics all kind of come as subtopics under immigration. There's some relationship there.
It's a really good point, Cresta, and they should argue that, because what they have to try and do is detach those arguments in order to make their original point, which is that immigration is absolutely fine and there's nothing for us to worry about. Because all other policies are designed for us to be coached into believing that's true. So if you start picking away at it, you're going to find out very quickly that immigration, no matter whether you like diversity or not, is causing huge problems in the UK.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
OK, finally, The Guardian, Paul, and the Pope is calling for raging conflicts to end. I didn't even know he watched headliners.
Well, exactly. Pope Francis...
That's a funny joke. Why can't you be like... Why can't you be like that when the camera's not on?
Why can't you not be like this now? Paul, you were telling us...
I'm getting flashbacks to last year. Pope Francis urges world to silence sound of arms in Christmas speech. So this is our Pope, of course. He might not be our Pope for everybody, but he's using his address to call for peace in the Middle East, Ukraine and Sudan, just those three at the moment, and expresses concern over an extremely grave humanitarian situation in Gaza. Now, I know he's the Pope, but he's asking for a lot here. I know he's got to use his speech wisely. He can't just go, I wish there were more cheese and onion in the mix pack than salt and vinegar and ready salted. He's got to come out with something substantial. But he's asking for a huge amount here. It is a time. It is a time for Christians and a time for peace, and I think we can all agree with this sentiment. But it is very, very difficult to achieve that with words.
Oh, you're so mealy, Paul.
I am.
You're mealy. Pope Francis is a Team World guy. He's not. That's the problem. People don't see it for what it is. He doesn't support the Christian community 100%. He's like saying, "Let's be nice to the." He doesn't. Don't shake your head on this. Yeah, he doesn't.
I'm communicating with people on the other side.
You're giving away the fourth wall.
I don't know what she's doing. She's just sitting there shaking her head.
How many times have you done live TV? 600 times.
I don't know. You can't tell what's going on in her mind.
I can.
Couldn't you listen? Anyway,
I can't.
You were saying.
I'm saying Pope Francis is him. Is he a him? I can't tell.
Yes, even in 2024.
Pope Francis should go and hang out with Prince Charles, with the German guy Klaus Schwab, and have a good old...
I can feel a Team World coming up.
It is Team World. It's their Team World against the people who are willing to fight for the Angles, the Saxons, the Brits, the Bretons, and the people who are living here who've immigrated to this country, not yesterday, and legally.
OK, those
Someone
are not
needs to fight for
necessarily the views of GB News. Still to come, what will you make of the new interpretation of the Bible? Is the Archbishop of York in hot water? And why would anyone want to make a tree feel stressed? This is Headliners only on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Hope you've enjoyed a wonderful Christmas. If you have further festive celebrations on Boxing Day, then many of us can expect quite similar conditions to what we've seen around today. We hold on to a very similar pattern with high pressure spreading its way in across southern areas of the UK. Meanwhile, this cold front is slowly slipping its way into the northwest, bringing more in the way of cloud and outbreaks of rain here. They'll push into parts of central Scotland into the early hours of Boxing Day morning, also into Northern Ireland as well. Generally further towards the south, staying drier, a few clear spells in there and some fog patches around also, but most of us certainly not seeing too chilly overnight and definitely frost free as we kick off Boxing Day morning. For the far north of Scotland, there will be a few brighter spells around on Boxing Day now that that cold front has slowly pushed southwards. Beyond them, a few showers still to cater for. The bulk of that rain will be light and patchy, but it is going to be across central areas of Scotland, spreading its way in for Northern Ireland first thing in the morning, hopefully drying up a touch here into the afternoon. The best chance of seeing some sunshine for parts of northeast England as well as northeastern areas of Wales. Otherwise, a lot of central and southern areas will see quite a lot of cloud throughout Boxing Day, so if you are heading out for a walk, whilst it will be dry in the south, generally quite grey skies for many of us. That picture will really continue right throughout the day. Temperatures, particularly to the southern end of this rain band, will be on the mild side for the time of year, topping up at around 10 to 11 degrees Celsius, but something cooler across the far north there, 7-8 degrees Celsius in the Western Isles and Northern Isles. If we fast forward to Friday, you'll notice there's not that much deal of a change. That rain band is still in play, weakening a touch, so it will be lighter and patchier for areas of Scotland. Generally quite cloudy once again for England, Wales and Northern Ireland. A few spots of drizzle are possible. Will the cloud eventually clear? Well, hopefully into Saturday, more of us should see a few more sunny spells around. Bye. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel, and as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/your-say. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Hi there, I'm Michelle Dewberry and I'm going to take a second to tell you all about my show, Dubes & Co. We start off with the issues of the day. We then bring in both sides of the arguments. We get rid of the disrespect. And then you throw me into the mix. And trust me, I'll tell it exactly how it is. And then, of course, the magic ingredient, you at home. We mix it all together and what have we got, in my opinion, the best debate show in town. Monday to Friday, 6 till 7 on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I'm Stephen Dixon, and thanks for joining us on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. Let's have another quick look at tomorrow's front pages. The Daily Express has stopped relying on sales to beat the budget blues. The Times has action plan as private schools face bankruptcy. The Independent has Putin's inhumane blitz leaves Ukraine in the cold. And the Daily Mirror has with love and hugs. Finally, the Eye has Labour facing growing threat as voters shift to reform. Nope, there's another one, Daily Mail. Charles, my heartfelt gratitude to selfless doctors and nurses. OK, so we're going to begin this section with the Telegraph. On this holy day, do you have any thoughts you'd like to share with us, Lewis?
Yes, I do. I wanted to give you a little present.
No, you're supposed to read the headline. Okay.
For Christmas. Take your Christmas present. It says Merry Christmas, just to remind you of Christmas.
Oh, look, it's just extraordinary.
It's a picture. It's a bit old, too.
It's a picture of Lewis holding Lewis. Oh, my God, what have you got for me?
It's a picture. It says Merry Christmas. And there's another picture of me underneath there. That's what I would do. And this is for you, Paul.
Oh, well, look at this.
Take this. It's beef. It's beef.
Merry Christmas. I know. I'm a pig.
I know. I just thought you'd like beef more. I was a bit lazy. I should have gotten...
Yeah, you are lazy, mate. No, don't. I'll
This
keep
isn't
it.
just a Lewis picture. It's a picture of Lewis holding a picture of Lewis.
Look at how great looking I was. This is about 25 or 30
It's Meta
years
Lewis.
ago. That's so long ago, and I look exactly the same, I think. Do I look exactly the same?
Yeah, almost.
People in my ear are saying, no, you do not.
I do look.
How
Stop the
mean.
people in the studio there. I find it shocking you didn't throw that on the floor. Thank you.
They were telling me to throw it on the floor, and I thought,
Were
I
they
can't do
saying
that.
that to you?
It hasn't got a thing to... I can't... OK, well, we'll just have to...
Lewis Schaefer.
We'll just have to look at the real thing for a bit
I didn't know
instead.
what to get. I thought
Okay.
I had to bring something because I knew... Because Andrew isn't here. We would have done something really...
He's not. Sadly missed.
He's not dead, by the way, everyone. Just so you know, Andrew Doyle is thoroughly alive.
He's alive and well.
OK, so you want to know what's going on.
Well, yes, I'd like you to read the
According to
headline.
the Telegraph, the Bible is pro-trans. That's the guidance for the Church of England, according to this group called Changing Attitude England, which is founded by an Anglican priest. And he says that the Bible supports cutting off children's parts of their body and promoting infertility and making people go around being gay. When I was a kid, they didn't even have trans. They had one trans person, and her name was Christine. Christine.
One specific person that you knew?
No, on the TV. There was nobody. It isn't like now where there's hundreds of people.
Well, they're
waiting.
talking about eunuchs, aren't they? They're taking something that did exist and they're putting the modern lens on it.
If we've learned anything in 2024, it's that perhaps the church don't read the Bible that often. Right, I can remember Genesis 1, verses 27. It says, God created male and female. It's very explicit.
Yes, if anything, they labour that point, don't they?
Right, and this is like the 27th verse of the Bible. So it starts at the beginning where God makes earth. It gets to the 27th verse, says, oh, by the way, is man and woman, male and female. And that's it. And the rest of the stories in the scriptures are based on that. So, no, the Church of England are wrong to say this. And I don't know why they need to do it. They don't need to do it. There's nothing wrong with being kind towards trans people. You can still be a Christian and kind to trans people. You've never got to take the Bible and try and manipulate it so that everybody else thinks
They're
that
not manipulated. They're not even reading it. It's not the Church of England. It's a group that wants to affect it. It says, so you are right. It's just that you can't believe anything that anybody says, even Lewis Schaefer. You can't believe it.
Especially Lewis Schaefer.
Yeah.
They're saying that there's women in the Bible doing masculine things and therefore...
But that's just sexist.
Well, I know, I was wrapping presents badly the other day and I thought, it doesn't make me trans.
No, it does. It does now.
It makes you Lewis Schaefer. Clarence. I didn't even wrap it very well. I didn't wrap it at all.
Well, it's wonderful, Lewis. OK, anything else on this?
We better not.
I think we're going to move on. So, the Daily Mail now. And is the Archbishop of York taking full personal responsibility for his shortcomings, Paul?
I'm going to take a guess. No. Archbishop of York says church must kneel in penitence, sorry, very different word, in Christmas sermon as pressure grows on him to resign in child abuse scandal. So this is Stephen Cotterill, and he's effectively the temporary leader of the church at the moment, with Justin Welby on his way out. And lo and behold, Stephen Cotterill's got his own scandal. He was once the priest at the centre of a sexual abuse case. There was a priest under him when he was at Norwich, I think, and the priest under his sort of leadership was at the centre of a sexual abuse case.
Not actually under.
No, not directly. I mean, this isn't.
Under. You mean like?
Yes, I mean hierarchically. Oh, okay. I don't mean he's just laying on top of him, do I, you Wally? A priest at the centre of sexual abuse.
You're turning on me too.
No, I don't know.
Where did that come from?
I don't know.
The point is,
I don't know. I'm so
that
sorry.
Mr. Cotterill was superior to somebody who turned out to be a child.
That's what I'm really trying to say. Thank you. And it turns out that he reappointed him twice.
Yeah.
So essentially, he's Welby Mark II.
Yes.
And it's almost as if the church can't find a candidate that isn't embroiled. Do you know what? I'm wondering if they should just put a woman in charge, because it's very unlikely that a woman is going to be embroiled in this type of scandal. There is
Helen Ann Hartley, who's the Bishop of Newcastle. She's questioned his credibility. So maybe she's got her eye on the prize.
Yes, it's very similar. Like, let's get rid of Matt Gaetz in America. But the truth is like I saw a picture of me with me, and I thought that's a wrong person to hang out with.
Guardian next, and AI. AI is like you, Lewis. It's not for everyone.
Oh, this is The Guardian. Blind people excluded for benefits of AI, say charity. You don't want to make fun of this because these are blind people and they got enough problems as it is. But AI helps blind people. It helps them.
Well, that's what I would have thought.
Yes, but these are people, the way people are now is, this is like preventing them from being a victim, which maybe makes them think that they're more of a victim. And, you know, you feel bad for blind people. But at the same time, you know, you want to just smack them in the head. They won't see it coming unless they're using the new...
Boo.
Boo. Was that bad?
Yeah,
was
there's
that
a
bad?
line.
And I used to be blind myself. I used to have really bad eyes.
And then he got bigger font on his phone.
No, I did.
Yes,
I had close to 3.5 bad eyes. I had bad eyes.
That doesn't make you blind.
No, that doesn't.
But I'm saying these people are blind, and I think AI... things can help people. Everything doesn't have to be perfectly affected positively.
Yes, but that's not exactly what they're saying here, is it, Paul? They're saying that there's lots of things in AI that blind people aren't able to use, and therefore they're being left behind.
Yes. I struggle because it's The Guardian and I want to despise the story. I actually worked with OpenSight this year. OpenSight is a British charity. I worked with the Alton branch. Used to volunteer on my day off just to help out, something to do. Gave me a great sense of enormous well-being and wholesomeness.
Because you're a bad man.
Yes, I needed it to overcome all the bad stuff I'd done. But so I can see that there is a future for AI helping out people with disability, and perhaps The Guardian, just on this occasion, Guardian, just because it's Christmas, you have a point.
Oh, Paul agreeing with The Guardian.
But your eyes, this is off the subject, but eyes can be improved best by throwing away your eyeglasses and seeing without them.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
OK, we've got a former professional tennis player now with some wild advice that will never catch on in the Telegraph, Paul.
Yes, Martina Navratilova attacks LGBT group for under-13s, saying just let kids be kids. I don't think I could agree with her more. So this is the 9-time Wimbledon singles champion, criticised the Norwich-based LGBTQ+ project, which it works at a school called the I think it's pronounced Acle Academy Secondary School. It's in Norfolk, and they actually have an under-13s LGBTQ+ youth club. And she says, look how young these children are being indoctrinated by their own teachers. And I don't think I could agree with her more. I think she's right. We seem to have taken this ideology and we seem to really be pushing it on kids. And the only people who really do that are cults and the Nazis. It's the best way to turn people over to a viewpoint is to get them at their youngest point.
Well, and isn't it fair to say that if you're under 13, because it says 13 and under, when you get really young, are you gay at that point? I mean, do you even have a sexuality?
Well, the point is they had them holding a pro-trans flag. Now, kids will know, and I'm sure anecdotally homosexual people will tell you that they knew at 12 and 13 years old that they were attracted to people of the opposite sex. I don't think that's what Navratilova is driving at. It's primarily the pro-trans issue. We do have a massive issue in the West of people trying to encourage children to say that they are transgender. And that could mean puberty blockers. And we already know, because of the Cass report, that's a very negative thing for children.
I'm with Paul on this. I mean, I remember back in the day, teachers, my mother was a teacher, and teachers were, I must say my mother was a bit randy. Is that the right word?
Not.
Probably not.
But it was it was randiness among teachers. I guess because they're around kids all day and it makes them, you know, want to do something. I don't know. Not with
What
kids.
does randy mean to you?
It means that they
move on.
they're more likely
Finally,
to enjoy themselves with
I'm
others.
being told to... Sorry, Lewis, can't squeeze it in. That's what she said. Finally, The Guardian and someone is suggesting that trees be forced to work alongside you, Lewis. Why?
I don't stress people out. I'm very easy to work with. There's no dead time here. That's the worst thing you can have on a TV show. Anyway, stressed out trees helping charities restore valuable aspen forests. And I didn't realize there were aspens in this country. And I know there are in America, like in Colorado, whatever. Aspens are quite popular. But they say that when trees are stressed in some way, maybe having to work with you, Cressida, being told you're no good all the time by you, it makes them have more babies, which helps. I'm feeling.
It's not how it works in people, is it?
No, it isn't. Well, it isn't really. No, that goes the other way. You just want to go back to your home in Nunhead and just go under the covers.
Wood on wood action.
Yeah.
Which is not one of my favourite movies. It is like working with Lewis, isn't it? They call these things torture chambers. They basically it's like woodland fragua. You know, it's like stressing these things out.
What word is that?
Fragua. I don't even.
Is that a word?
It is.
With geese, I don't know. Still to come. Are people happier at Christmas? What's so good about nature? And is your nan still going to go to M&S? This is Headliners, only on GB News.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Boxing Day across Europe looks very mixed. Windy in Italy, unsettled in Greece and Cyprus, mostly fine for Spain and the Canaries, but for Madeira we do have some showery rain and a strong wind blowing through here. A strong wind also for Gibraltar on Boxing Day, but otherwise sunny skies across Spain and Portugal. Windy for Italy. That wind is easing as this area of low pressure moves through. That's going to continue to bring heavy downpours and thunderstorms for Greece and Cyprus.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
Joining me now is food historian and author of Christmas with Dickens, Pen Vogler. Pen, let's start with Christmas Carol. Did A Christmas Carol change Britain's view of Christmas?
I think it did, enormously. Before then, people were beginning to think, as they do now, that Christmas might be being a little bit commercial. It was too much food and drink, not enough kind of seriousness or not enough kind of love and family. And what Dickens did with A Christmas Carol was show people who were coming to the cities, who were kind of losing their rural history, a new way of celebrating Christmas, that a real, just a family could get together and love and kind of get around the table together. And whereas before, a lot of those kind of Christmas dishes would have been seasonal, lots of people would have eaten them at different times of the year, Dickens does two things. He takes the goose, which is what the Cratchits are going to eat, and he turns it to a turkey, much bigger, meatier, kind of more generous. And then he takes this thing that he never calls Christmas pudding in A Christmas Carol. There's no Christmas pudding. He only calls it plum pudding, and he anchors it to that day. And interestingly, after then, people start publishing recipes for Christmas pudding, and it starts getting its name, Christmas pudding, from plum pudding. And I think all of that really comes from A Christmas Carol.
You say becomes a Christmas pudding almost immediately after A Christmas Carol is published.
Yes, I mean, it's occasionally called Christmas pudding before, but not often. And then a very famous for the time, the kind of Delia Smith of her day, lady called Eliza Acton, publishes a recipe called The Author's Christmas Pudding in 1845. And we know she's a big Dickens fan because she sent a copy of her cookbook to him.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more.
Whether it's breaking royal news,
Will, please bring us up to date.
or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons,
Very, very curious.
we bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there short and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners, opening with The Independent. It turns out people are, on average, happier than happier at Christmas than the rest of winter. Paul, of course, on average, they're not working with Lewis.
Christmas cheer gives people festive bump to alleviate winter blues, data shows. So YouGov's weekly happiness tracker, who knew they had one, which has been collecting data since the summer of 2019, now shows that people really are hit by seasonal sadness as the days grow shorter. However, a few days of festive merriment puts a temporary halt to the state of melancholy. And of course this is true, really, isn't it? I mean, the winter in this country is absolutely bleak. We've always had a festival in midwinter for this very reason. You know, we hang lights, we light candles, we lit bonfires, we drink ourselves close to death. Yeah. All so that we can get through this absolutely harrowing time of year.
Why do you think that is? Because God wants us to be happy during this time. There isn't a reason. I don't believe this. Yeah,
what just happened, though? Were you having a religious moment and then you changed your mind?
Because he was making it seem like this is just why we have it. We just have it this time of year. No, there's a reason, which is the Bible says that God said, take off Christmas, take off these days and have a couple of days, whatever.
Well, that was a gospel I didn't read.
Yeah. But, you don't think it's in
no,
the Bible?
I'm a man of faith. The thing is, it is a terrible time of year, and what I want to pay dues to is there will be people watching this who feel terrible because it's winter, terrible because it's Christmas, and they're forced to feel like they should be happy in some way, yeah. and they can't necessarily be so because the pressures of life, their situation in life.
I blame all the glitzy adverts where everyone's got 10 beautiful friends around
of course
the
they
table.
haven't. They're all multicoloured and different types of gender. Like so, I mean, look, if you're having a tough one out there, you probably won't be right now because you're watching headliners, but we're with you. We are with you.
No, but be with them. You can be with me. You can be on Twitter right now, lewisschaefer.co.uk. I was really bad this year. We made no merchandise. We did very little stuff.
You and your team. Another article about feeling better during winter. This time, it's in The Guardian. What are they saying, Lewis?
Well, this is in The Guardian, who's our favourite impartial newspaper, if you call it a newspaper. It is a newspaper. Is that a newspaper?
Student magazine.
Whatever it is. Canadian researchers trial nature trick to boost the mood in winter. Moost the boobs. Whatever, I didn't say that.
You nearly got through the whole show without any Ofcom complaints. So.
Okay, the point is, this is happening in Edmonton. If you think Britain is bleak, Edmonton, I can imagine.
I've been to Edmonton. It's a beautiful place, but I've never been there in the winter.
There isn't even a hill in the
There's a huge mall there. In 2000 when I went, had a swimming pool inside the mall
in the world.
So they're suggesting looking not at the mall, but at the flowers, the nature stuff.
It just says they haven't even done this survey, but they're saying we're going to do a survey. We're going to tell people to look at things in nature for the next 2 weeks and see if it improves your mood.
Okay.
But the truth is that you do something regularly of a regular basis, it's going to improve your mood because your mood is on other things other than complaining and moaning because you're English. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Just going to squeeze this last one in. Good news for M&S in the Telegraph next, Paul.
Yeah, M&S loses grandma shop image as young flock to department store. We're going to have to re-clarify what young means in a minute. But retailers' turnaround is attracting a new generation after push for trend-led clothing. Well, I'm actually wearing M&S jeans tonight, so I am trend-led, as we all know. And they're looking to attract the 35 to 50-year-old market, which I think is young. I fit right in the middle of that, and I'm happy to do so. And
yeah, but who are you sitting next to?
I'm sitting next to the youngest 67-year-old in the world.
Exactly. So how do you think I feel? Maybe you and Cressida are all happy about that stuff, but
someone who looks amazing. Okay.
You know why M&S is younger?
Nearly over. So let's take another quick look at tomorrow's front pages. The Daily Express has stopped relying on sales to beat the budget blues. The Times has action plan as private schools face bankruptcy. The Independent has Putin's inhumane blitz leaves Ukraine in the cold, and the Daily Mirror has with love and hugs. The iPaper has Labour facing growing threat as voters shift to reform. And finally, the Daily Mail has Charles, my heartfelt gratitude to selfless doctors and nurses. That's it for tonight's show. Thank you very much to my guests, Paul and Lewis. I'll be back tomorrow at 11 p.m, joined by Jonathan Cogan and Nick Dixon. And if you're watching at 5 a.m, then please stay tuned for breakfast. Good night. right, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
There will be a light breeze in the morning, leading to a warm front. Boxed heat pumps, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello there, good afternoon. Hope you're having a lovely Christmas. Most of us have been blessed with a dry Christmas from the weather gods, and that is all courtesy of an area of high pressure that is centred across parts of continental Europe, but it's extending its influence across areas of the UK as well, particularly the southern half where things are generally largely dry. We do though have this cold front in the far northwest, which is bringing some outbreaks of rain here. Elsewhere into this evening and overnight, again largely dry, a few spots of drizzle to watch out for, and there'll be a few cloud breaks over eastern areas as well. You might see a few fog patches around overnight. Temperatures though certainly underneath that cloud are not going to be too chilly for most of us, ranging between 6 and 9 degrees Celsius. As we start off Boxing Day then, that front in the far northwest will have just slipped its way a little bit further southwards, so those outbreaks of rain spreading into parts of central Scotland and also into Northern Ireland first thing in the morning. Far north of Scotland actually seeing some sunny spells to kick off the day. Further in the south for England and Wales, again, it is going to be a largely cloudy day for the vast majority. It's going to be parts of Yorkshire through into parts of north-eastern Wales, where we might see a few of those breaks in the cloud if you're to the east of some higher ground areas. Underneath the thickest cloud, I certainly can't rule out the odd spot of drizzle once again, but it should mostly be dry for much of England and Wales. Temperatures perhaps a little down compared to what we have been seeing throughout Christmas Day, but certainly still on the mild side for most of us. Again, if you're to the south of this rain band, you'll be seeing temperatures climb into double-digit figures, 10 or 11 degrees Celsius. For the north of Scotland, though, something a little cooler and fresher filtering its way in, 7 or 8 degrees Celsius here. And we're going to be watching this band of rain because it's acting as a boundary line between those cooler and milder conditions. As we head over the next few days, it looks like that front might just slowly push its way southwards into the weekend, and that will see those cooler conditions arriving for many of us. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
We can expect clear skies, leading to a light and warm day ahead. Lovely. Boxed Solar, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Imagine getting the call to tell you that you've won £50,000 in tax-free cash, our biggest cash prize of the year.
Oh my God.
That's a big surprise.
Oh my God. This is amazing.
I'm in shock.
I'd say don't hesitate, do it.
For another chance to win, text cash to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2. You can call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB10 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 6 p.m. on the 31st of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Dubes & Co. Weekdays from 6 p.m.
This is a topic very close to my heart. I have become fully convinced that social media, smartphones are one of the primary causes